So we are seeing stocks soar today after Ben Bernanke's comments from Wednesday, but we are going to see the federal budget later this afternoon. Joining me today is Doreen Mogavero from Mogavero Securities. So Doreen, the labor force participation rate has remained at the lowest it's been for a few months now since the 1970s. So as the pool gets smaller, doesn't taxes have to eventually still increase?
I guess more appropriately, I think it's got to pay for the people that are out of work. Right. So I think, listen, taxes are the main source of revenue for the government. You know, outside of cutting costs, there is no other way for them to get money. So if they're not cutting costs enough to meet the payments that they need to, obviously they're going to have to increase taxes. But the question is, will people actually pay them, and will they tolerate it without more cutting? And that's the constant debate that you have going on in Washington. But I think the obvious answer is they need more money. Where are they going to get it from? I don't know.
And also this week, small business sentiment did decline for the lowest it's been in a couple years now. Are they kind of struggling now with the fact that the uncertainty over the healthcare law, as well as those tax hikes in January and then the sequestration cuts in March?
Well, I think small businesses, again, it depends on the industry that you're in. I mean, if regulation is applicable as it is in this industry, I can tell you, having a small business, that it is really burdensome. Sometimes duplicated. I mean, it's not particularly efficient, regulation, sometimes. Not that it's not necessary, because it is, and I think it serves a function insofar as giving investors confidence that somebody is watching, as they should be. But I do think that overregulation is something that comes with an administration, quite frankly, that feels that government is the answer. I'm not one that believes you can regulate people into good behavior. So I think they have to want to behave well, otherwise they're going to find a way to get around it. So although regulation is necessary, I'm not sure that overregulation is necessary. And as it comes to healthcare, I think right now small businesses are struggling just for economic reasons. And to add any more mandated costs to their balance sheets would be very difficult for many small businesses, and I think that's why you're seeing confidence going forward is not so great.
And finally, what kind of long-term effects will arise once more baby boomers do start to retire and interest rates eventually have to go back to their normal levels?
Well, as I've said to you, normal is relative. Normal to me, my first house I paid 14% interest on, so I mean, everything is relative. But I think to see interest rates at a little bit higher than they are now, a point or two, would give investors an alternative vehicle to stocks, which ultimately would not be good to stocks, because baby boomers by nature, as they retire, and there's something like 10,000 a month retiring, or a week retiring, I forget the figure that I read, but it's a tremendous amount of people, and they want less risk as you get older than more. So I think it would be good for them to have an alternative vehicle, like a bank, where they feel safe and can still get a decent return on their money, but I don't think ultimately it would be very good for the stock market.
Well, Doreen, thank you so much for your insight.
You're welcome.